We're witnessing a little bit of a short squeeze within the crypto markets, and this could lead to some major breakouts and potentially the next big move, which we've been waiting for quite some time. And we have spoken a lot about the low volatility in the market, which typically leads to expansion. And we could be at the cusp of that next major move. So in today's show, we will discuss this and a whole lot more. Smash the like button, hit the bell notification, and subscribe to the channel. Let's get immediately straight into the show content over here. Just quickly having a look over on the daily, you can see a lot of the coins putting in some sizable gains, right? Double digits for the majority of these coins over here on the daily. And if we look at the weekly, well, a lot of these are almost pushing triple digit gains. So this kind of feels like what you would expect to see on the daily in an altcoin season. But I don't think we're quite yet there at that exact point in time. You can actually vote. We're running a poll right now. I would love to know your thoughts. Do you trust the current pump? Do you think this is a real breakout? Yes or no? Maybe. The bull market's over. There's 4 options for you to vote on. Let's see where the mass sentiment resides, right? Remember, oftentimes the masses are wrong at extremities, but the masses are right at the start, or at least the middle of these trending moves. So we have a lot to look at in today's show. One thing that we were paying attention to yesterday was exactly this, right? This is, we're going to start on the low time frames and then move up to the high time frames. We're, of course, on the 4-hour chart looking at that downsloping trend line. We spoke about price pushing into that key resistance, and we said watch for the pullback, right? Watch for the pullback directly into that fair value gap. And you can see exactly as we had anticipated over there, you came perfectly into that fair value gap, right into the middle over there. There's your wick. Wick got filled over there, capturing that imbalance within the market. That's the reason that these fair value gaps work, right? Because you put in a big inefficiency candle, also known as an imbalance within the market. Market makers who typically control the markets often like to rebalance things, and they send the market back into those key zones. If this confuses you and you do want to learn more, you can pause the video right now, go through to the link in the description below, and go look for where it says Whale School, right? If you see over here, it says, let's just have a look for it very, very quickly, as Whale School in here. There it is, Whale School all the way on the bottom. Click on that link. It will take you through to this page. You have 12 days left to join. Sign up to Whale School while you still can. I think we're at about 85, 86% capacity now. So last couple of members can jump in, join in over there. I teach you all these things, right? So now that we've hit the fair value gap and we've got a little bit of a bounce, this is looking like a low time frame, higher low in motion, and the start of a low time frame trend. Remember, the low time frame trends will turn up first before the high time frame trends. So there will be implications if you do start to take out some of these key levels. So first and foremost, we have taken out that level. That was one zone that we were looking at. Yeah, so the next major level, $102,735. That is, of course, going to be major resistance, right? But there is a possibility that you capture that because the shorts keep jumping into the market. And that's what we've anticipated, these moves as they've happened, right? You can see over here, we looked at that $96,000 level. We're looking to capture the liquidity in the form of short traders stop losses, which were placed over there. Price moved into that and it didn't reject. That's the key point. You want to assess what price is doing as it hits those yellow zones, those heat map areas, which is where the short traders are placing their stop loss. But instead, price held sideways, creating enough momentum to send it up again. And once again, you can see we captured the liquidity. Now we need to see if new liquidity is going to come into the market and where it's going to be strongest on the top or the bottom. We need to see how the price action closes, especially on the CME futures chart, which is going to be closing later on today. So if we do have a good close, if we do take out that key level around that $102,000 level, well, that'll be the very start of your breakout. And it's starting to look like this could be a big breakout, having shaken a lot of people out of the market on that wick low over there. And you're kind of getting the perfect recipe for a big move in the sense that you have short traders who keep getting liquidated, shorting this price action on the way up. And then you have those who are actually bullish in the market, but they jumped out of the market to take a more cautious stance as price looked to be capitulating. And of course, we had that strong daily demand, bringing price back towards the upside. And basically that creates the recipe because now you have short traders who, when they get liquidated, by the nature of what a liquidation means, it means that it closes out the short position and essentially market buys back into the market, which creates these price appreciations, right? And then you have all the longs down there who want to be long, but they want to get a pullback first, chasing price towards the upside, and that's how you get these massive breakouts. So we need to wait to see, as long as price action keeps closing above the yellow line, which is 98,000 you have the RSI trending up. Bulls are in control, at least for now. And I would anticipate to have another week at least to keep that control before bears will attempt to take over. Remember, the pendulum swings, right? We've spoken about this a lot. It goes from bullish to bearish. Bears get their chance, bulls get their chance. Right now is the bulls' chance, and this is looking like a really strong formation for continuation higher. So I do believe that it's probably better to be long right now within the market with support over there of the 9 and the 18 exponential. Now, the whole market will start to jump onto this bandwagon as soon as they start to see daily candle closes above that $102,000 level, because for traders that wait for final confirmation, that's exactly what they're going to be looking for, right? So when you study these low time frames like the 4 hour over here, this gives you early lead into what could potentially happen next, which would bleed into the daily. And then you need to be looking out for this. Is it volume backed? That is the question, right? Is it volume backed? As you start to break structure, right, the breaking above the previous lower highs on the daily time frame, is it met with an increase or a rise in volume, right? You want to see these volume candles increasing as that breakout does actually take place. That shows you that you can actually trust the pump. It's a real move, right? If there is no volume, then it increases the likelihood that maybe it's a fake out, it's a trap, and you are going to get slammed down one more time. Now, very, very quickly, if you do get slammed down one more time, the level that we're targeting is this daily wick over here. We're going to target the midpoint at that point in time, right? That will probably bring a whole lot of fear back into the market, because people would be incredibly stressed that, this is macro distribution on a daily time frame. And there is always the possibility that it could be that, right? Which is why risk management is first and foremost one of the most important things, right? If not, it is the most important thing when it comes to trading. As it currently stands, the good news is you're above the volume point of control over here at $97,000, which simultaneously coincides more or less with, of course, that RSI, right? The yellow line. So 2 key levels have been reclaimed over there. We want to spend some time above here. And as long as you can continue to consolidate, it will increase the likelihood that you do break out. So we will continue to monitor this on a day-to-day basis. If the dailies do break out like this, again, that has implications into the high time frames, such as the weekly. And if the weekly starts to break above the prior highs over here at 104,795, I'm looking specifically at the closing candles over there where price was unable to close above that. That would start to warrant the opportunity for a bigger Bitcoin breakout, which at my minimum target would take you up to this $122,000 level, right? And then I think you need to reassess what happens in terms of the momentum as you're hitting that level, because we can gauge the momentum. Remember, we can always have a look at what the momentum looks like by checking out the stochastics, such as the stochastic RSI. Right now, it's very, very bottomed out. Right now, we still have the BBWP also incredibly low on the 5-day. And that move, if you do get that move and you do start to break out over here, this will most certainly start to rise towards the upside, which would theoretically mean that there's a lot of momentum and you could actually blast past beyond that 120,000. Hence, I've suggested this is actually my minimum target. My minimum target would be $122,000 for Bitcoin. But the better news is that in the midst of all of this, if you do start to get that rapid price appreciation, you probably will get altcoins rallying really, really nicely, because we've had a total wipeout of the funding rates. If you look over the last year, remember, it's only been March of 2024 where things got even a little bit frothy. And even by my definitions, when we study things like various different risk metrics, it was very minor, right? Very, very minor. Things can get a lot more heated than what we previously saw over there. But the good news is, look what the funding looks like. Look where price is, right? The white line over here, let's flash it on and off the screen. The white line is the Bitcoin price. When Bitcoin price was trading at about $74,000, that was where the altcoins were going absolutely ballistic. And now you have Bitcoin trading pretty much around that $100,000 mark, but altcoins are not yet going ballistic. In fact, the leverage has been totally flushed and wiped out. So we will patiently wait for the momentum to shift. We'll have a look at as well what is happening in the total 3 cryptocurrency market cap, referring to that altcoin sector. And we'll have a look at a couple of coins in today's show, which could potentially be lining up also for big breakouts. So if you want those coins, again, guys, smash the like button. I'll remind you one more time, jump in, sign up to Whale School, all you have to do is put in your email address. I forgot to mention, this is free, right? It's free. You don't have to pay a cent. It is covered by these sponsors over here. You would have to make a small deposit into one of these exchanges of $100, but that's your money to trade with, right? They're not going to be taking that money. You pretty much don't even have to trade it. You can just leave it in there, and that will gain you access into the course, right? So let's continue. We do also want to see the stock market doing the same thing as what Bitcoin does, right? If the stock market does also start to break out over here, that could lead into an acceleration phase for the crypto markets. And we're very, very, very close, right? So small rejection from that trend line over there, which is probably keeping some people a little bit cautious, but you only got about 1% left to go to actually break through that level. So this is looking at the S&P 500 on the daily time frame over here. And if we start to break above that, you can say with high probability, this is a major high low. There's your last high low, and there's the one before that. And therefore, you're looking to take out those highs, right? Remember, there was big bearish divergence over here on the stock market. So you can start to at least say that that bearish divergence has been completed if you do start to take out these levels and continue. So another thing in the bull's court, which you can tick off if you get above those key zones. So it's all resting on what happens at this key level 5992. Now, there are some analysts which came out really, really early in the bottom of the last bear market. One of them is John Higgins, right? And John Higgins and he's a chief market economist. John Higgins and his fund over here are basically targeting much higher, right? So you can see over here, after firstly predicting correctly and being one of the first people to suggest that the S&P 500 would go to around that 6,000 point mark, which it did in the year 2024. He's now come out and said that you can be looking at 7,000, right? 7,000, targeting 7,000. How far up is 7,000 for the S&P 500 from current levels? Well, that's around 18% higher. You can imagine if you get 18% higher on the stock market, how much more so will crypto rally, right? That will start to create a giga pump within the market. I'm not necessarily as bullish as what he is. Towards the end of the cycles, I prefer to take a much more cautious approach. But nevertheless, based on various different valuations, that's ultimately what they're looking at in terms of PE ratios, etc. And this would be totally in alignment with also what we do cover in Whale School, is the 18.6-year real estate cycle, right? Having started off in 2011, led into a big rally up into 2020, where you got your first mid-cycle slowdown or major correction, and then pick back up. We're now in that winner's curse phase where everything starts to go absolutely vertical. So by the definition, at least, of what you should expect from the 18.6-year cycle, you could see that becomes a possibility, right? So just to showcase where is 7,000 from here, that would have to start to really get sent full vertical if you start to look at something like that for the stock market, which crazier things have happened before. Well, our cryptos are going to rally very, very, very hard due to the correlation between crypto and the stock market. So only time will tell. Only time will tell. Nevertheless, we know that we're in the winner's curse phase. This is the phase where everybody is right. I haven't yet seen the sentiment signs and symptoms of the cycle top. I start to look for things like, every person that just recently joined into crypto, maybe they spent from the first time ever that they discovered crypto, 3 or 4 months in the space, and then they start to think that they're a genius, and they start to quit their jobs, right? Like genuinely giving in. You'll hear stories of this where they start to give in their resignation because they can make more money at home, right? They're making in a week as much as they make in a month at work. And these are the major signs and symptoms of that winner's curse phase, where you think that, or you're looking for things to absolutely blow off, right? Blow off top. Now, I'm not convinced yet that we're going to get a blow off top within this cycle. In fact, I've said it's probably going to be right translated with very, very slow and steady, frustrating a lot of people. But if you're picking the right coins and holding on to them from early, you can do phenomenally well, right? So we're waiting still for the breakdown of the USDT dominance. Right now, it is coming down super hard, which is a good sign. We just need to break below this major support over here. This is on a low time frame. It's a 4-hour chart, but if I contract it in over here, essentially the next big move that we're looking for is a move below these levels, and then possibly you could drop. This is free space over here in between there. There's no major support within this zone, so you could look to very aggressively drop down into the 2.46. Now, I think the question of whether this would be some sort of a blow-off top or right translated cycle would heavily depend on what actually happens with this USDT dominance, right? So we want to see that dominance break down. It's been grinding this level out for quite some time. And I think that we could be really, really close if we do start to at least close a couple of candles below that low. And that low, it will almost be inevitable at that point that you're probably going to drop really, really hard. So the stars are lining up. Things are starting to look good. Remember, it's all one big trade. You're comparing what's happening in the stock market. You're comparing what's happening in terms of momentum oscillators, volatility, which is flatlined over here, and as well as that, the USDT dominance to try and figure out, what may actually be coming next. We have the Bitcoin dominance as well, which is also doing something very similar to the USDT dominance. Still patiently waiting for a bigger drop. Acceptance gained underneath 54.76% will most certainly trigger the altcoin season, right? Those are the major levels to take out. You have interim support over there in the form of what was previously resistance, and then support also slightly below. So similar to the USDT dominance, this becomes your free space level, right? Pretty much final level of support over there. If you can start to take out this level, you have free space all the way down to about 49%, where you should get an aggressive altcoin rally in that environment. So it's happened slowly, and then it starts to accelerate, right? Once you hit that tipping point or pivot level, it starts to aggressively accelerate. So always pay attention to this. Don't get too frustrated. As I said yesterday, give it a little bit more time, right? Give yourself at least until the end of March for a bit more excitement within the market, because we have had some boring times. Stock markets, everything has rebounded over there, still putting in the lower high structure on all of them. S&P 500, NASDAQ, Dow Jones has, however, broken above some of the key levels. So it's going to take a little bit more time to transition that, right? We have ETH BTC getting absolutely clobbered once again. The poor ETH maxis, and I mean that literally, they are poor now. The poor ETH maxis continue to get obliterated in this ETH trade, right? Being an ETH maxi this cycle was probably the worst decision of your life. I do feel for you, right? I feel for you. But at the end of the day, you need to wait for this chart to reverse. I do think that ETH will have its day. And we've said this many times, so I can't stick my neck out on the line over here, because it could just get worse. It could. But it feels like a capitulation when it comes to ETH, right? ETH against BTC has been getting smashed, and ETH against many of the other coins as well continues to get completely annihilated, right? So major support is going to be down here in 0.028. I must say, I'm very surprised that this actually hasn't reversed yet. But the good news is that I'm not an ETH maxi, right? So that's at least good for me. Whether you're an ETH maxi or not, I don't know. If you are, it's probably the worst time to capitulate, because now you're surely closer to the end, right? So we're still waiting for this big breakout. It likely comes with alt season. When this does break out, you probably will make a lot of ground up very, very quickly. I do expect that it should be aggressive, because, oftentimes when you just have this mass price suppression over here, you usually get very powerful snapbacks, right, in the opposite direction. If we look at Total 3, though, Total 3 doesn't look as bad as ETH BTC. This one is already attempting to break out, holding above the break of structure over there. Others, BTC, also attempting to reclaim the break of structure level, which had already temporarily peaked its head above, but the real level to get above is the 0.26, whereas those previous highs, right? So just looking at the various different market caps, all looks good and well over here from a bullish perspective. There's nothing to worry about, in my opinion. Same thing on Total 2. Everything looks good and well. It's just consolidating. And, essentially the wording that we like to use is coiling up, right? The way a spring coils up, it's coiling up, prepping for the next big move. This is your coiling up process, right? So coiling up on Total 2, coiling up on Total 3, the consolidation creates order blocks, which then lead into big breakouts. So the best time to remain in the market is during those consolidation periods, right? You don't want to be trying to buy the breakouts, because usually when they happen, they're so fast that you won't be able to get your trade in, and breakouts very often fail, which is why trying to buy that breakout over there would have absolutely rinsed you, right? Because what happened next? Price dropped down. So that is Total 3. I don't know if you guys saw this, Bitwise, right? Bitwise forecasts a Solana price in 2030, the Great Reset. You'll own nothing and you'll be happy. But if you're owning Solanas, Well, 6,636, the $6,636 could be the price of one Solana, at least according to them. Let me know in the comments, what do you think? Does that sound realistic? You know, they project Solana capturing 7.1% of total addresses that's their base case, right? So we'll go with the base case over here. And that would put a target of $4,000 on Solana by 2030 under base case, right? I do actually think that this is a possibility, especially if Solana does continue to be a dominant blockchain and continues to win market share. So they're looking at capturing, 7.1% of addresses. I think currently they are in the region. Anyone correct me if I'm wrong in the comments. I think they're in the region of about 3% of the total market share. So, to double from here, I guess it can happen, right? So let's see what happens over there. That I am a Solana bull. I do hold a sizable amount of Solana. All right, we can have a look at a couple of the other coins over here. One that I was having a look at is World Mobile, right? World Mobile, of course, has come into major support over here. It also does have a downsloping trend line, but I think this is going to kind of be the flavor of the month. You're going to start to see a lot of these things do this, right? In terms of a structural pattern, strong support, downsloping trend line, trying to find some sort of a bottom. Maybe you do test there one more time, but the fact that it's reclaiming the yearly open is a good thing. And the flavor of the month will start to become these big breakouts, right? I would be looking for something like that. This is under the 𝗕𝗫𝗬𝗕𝗏 space, right? So that is WMTX, right? WMTX is the World Mobile token under 𝗕𝗫𝗬𝗕 space. Let's check out how Solana is doing. Obviously, I had a decent pump yesterday. So again, just talking about the flavor of the month, you can see getting an early head start, right? Similar to what I just showed you on World Mobile, you have price coming into major support over there. The downsloping trend line already starting to lead the market. So look towards the leaders. And then, I don't always recommend buying laggards, but if you do want to get a better risk to reward trade and you're not aiming to be a long-term holder on something, but instead you just want to take the trade in terms of the ratios, right? You're looking for a trade setup with a particular ratio like that. You risk X amount to win X amount. Then I guess look to the leaders to figure out what the laggards are going to do next. Again, I teach all of this in Whale School if you do want to learn more. So the fact that you have over here on the daily time frame a candle close above the downsloping trend line and now a new candle opening above that increases the probability that you're probably going to get continuation. But keep in mind, when it comes to Solana, the very, very key level, the main zone that you want to get above is going to be this 218 to 220. Very, very important. We need to see a break of structure over there. I think that also lines up as significant with the fib levels. Let's quickly see over here. We'll just measure it out. Let's throw on a normal fib over there. So there we have it. So there is significance. Why is there significance? Because it does line up with the 50% level. I'm just going to quickly highlight it. That is your green area, right? So the green area, give or take, which I've now highlighted in yellow, is your 50% level of this entire range. If price can start to hover above that 50% level, then you start to gain acceptance above there, and that's essentially like your mid-range, right? You're reclaiming your mid-range, and then you can look at price to rapidly start to target up towards the range highs. So I still think a great opportunity when it comes to something like Solana. I do believe that at some point, in the next couple of weeks to months, you will see Solana trading all the way above these highs, right? Which is already 25% away. So you have to ask yourself, how much will Bitcoin give you in terms of gains? For Bitcoin is only about like 7% away from all-time highs. Solana's got about 25%. So 7, 14, 21, it's just over 3x more than what you're going to be getting from Bitcoin. And this is part of the reason why, I'm mostly holding altcoins at this point in time. Risk to reward, it just makes much, much more sense. Okay, 𝗬𝗢. Touching base on 𝗬𝗢 over here. Look, again, we just keep tracking these daily wicks. If this can just slowly keep grinding up, I'm going to delete that to not make a noise out of this chart. But I just want to keep tracking, to have my finger on the trigger over here ever since this low. We've just been tracking each of these wick lows. You don't really want to take these out. You just want to see slow continuation above, and then we can start to increase the probability that you're taking out these levels, because the reason why is also you have 𝗬𝗢, which has really overextended in the sense compared to other coins. It's really run hard, had a huge move, which means eventually you will break that trend line, right? And it's putting in small lower highs over there. This is the risk with something like this, right? I think great project, great technology, but eventually when you take out this trend line over here, you risk a big correction. The bigger the moves up, right, that you have to have big corrections. If you have huge moves up, it trades like a meme coin. Big moves up, right, you can get those 5, 6, 7, 800% in a couple of weeks. But when it does drop that trend line over there, then expect 50% drops, almost overnight. So that's SUI over there. For now, it still looks strong. Of course, if you break below the yearly open, this is going to start to become a really bearish chart. So use that as the line in the sand. That is $4.11, right? Let's see how HYPE is looking over here. So HYPE, I personally did take a position on this. It's about 3 to 5% of my total portfolio. I want to see time spent above the yearly open, but it's very hard to value this one. Fundamentally, how do you value this coin? Really tough. And then even TA wise, it's tough to trade it because we don't have that much price history. So we have very little to work with, right? So it becomes a little bit of a punt. But essentially, if you can start to close above 25, that will start to be where maybe give it the chance to start to take off over there. So that is HYPE. Other ones that I've, of course, taken a position in, and we're going to have to drop onto a lower time frame is S, right? Sonic. Sonic Phantom, which is now called Sonic, right? They rebranded. Holding up on this level over here. This is on the hourly time frame. Yesterday in Whale Room, we outlined all the various different levels. We're specifically targeting right into the zone over here, and that's where we started to fill our orders. Why? Because that was your fair value gap based on the big inefficient candle. Price comes back into that, reclaims the yearly open. That becomes your next high low, and then this one could start cooking, right? So I've added that as well into my portfolio. HYPE, we have Sonic. If you want the full price history, you can go look at the old Phantom chart. That's what it looks like. It was essentially range bound. It hasn't really had a proper run yet in this cycle. All right, other things to look at. There's a couple of other things that I've kept my eye out on. Let's go to just want to go to some of the AI agents. Let's double check some of those. Let's go gaming first. Another gaming coin that's done phenomenally well is Zentry, right? Let's go into the daily to show you what this chart looks like. This is amazing, this chart. They're looking to be the super layer gaming chain, right? And you can see over here, beautiful rounded bottom, perfect high highs and high lows. The fact that it's put in high lows whilst reclaiming the yearly open shows a major sign of strength. And all you need to do is just look ever since the bottom over here, how well Zentry has done. 181% to current levels, from bottom to top over there, 243%. When you compare to some of the other gaming projects that are out there, they've been absolutely annihilated, absolutely smashed over there. So that is Zentry over there. Other ones that I'm looking at in the gaming sector, remember, is Super. I did say to the Whale Room community yesterday, since Super's been one of the top performers, this kind of shakeout wick over here would have been your best bet to get in, because if Super's performed that well, it's probably going to continue to perform that well. If you want that exposure to the gaming sector, my picks would be Zentry, Super, and then I'd also be looking at Prime over here. And those are the picks that I have. That I hold currently Zentry, I hold Prime, I don't hold Super, right? Because I missed it. It ran too hard. I didn't want to get in, but I do hold Prime and I hold Zentry. These are the two picks. Very similar to Zentry, right? Prime also just putting in those high highs and high lows, continuing its journey onwards and upwards and holding above that yearly open, right? All right. I did see a comment over here from Tindo, the African DJ. Can I get Bitfunded? Yes, you can. But how do I get it to you? That is the question. I think we need to contact you. Yes, we'll give you a Bitfunded account. Guys, by the way, I don't think we have the link in the description. Join tomorrow's show. Hardest if you can put Bitfunded in the description. Remember, Bitfunded is where you can pay a small trial fee, like $99, and then you qualify for $10,000 worth of capital, which you can trade with, right? So you pass the challenge, but we can also hand out a couple of free challenges, so you don't have to pay the $99. So Tindo, the African DJ, just reach out to us. If someone on the team can get hold of him, I'll give you a Bitfunded account, because you are so nicely over here. And then join tomorrow's show. We'll give away a couple more Bitfunded accounts on tomorrow's show as well, for those of you that are asking. All right, let's continue. What else have we got? Let's go to some of the meme coins. Quickly having a look at Pepe. Still perfect. Hit the demand zone. As soon as it gets above the yearly open, this will start to cook. Brett as well, looking decent. Still in a downtrend, of course, but we know that we found confluence of major support. We got Andy and Wolf, the 𝗕𝗬𝗘𝗦𝗕𝗬𝗕 plays, still in a great zone, right? Personally, I think to gain a little bit of exposure. You got the WIF chart bouncing nicely off of the range low, attempting to reclaim the yearly open right now. It still needs to break that downtrend by getting above $2.18. And whenever Solana moves into price discovery, especially, that's when you can expect that this should do very, very well. So 𝗥, another one of our top picks over here, still kind of respecting this level, right? So you have a price cap below the yearly open, but you do have this parabolic line, which is still relevant, coming into key support, right? Support, resistance, support, 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 holding back into that level. Watch for, maybe get like some sort of a double bottom over here. At this point, you're already starting to fill some of that inefficiency on the wick. Watch for the rounded bottom. When risk returns back into the market, I think that meme coins will do very, very well. So for those of you who saw Rand's tweet where he said that, Murad is going to die on his meme coin sword and round trip to zero, many have asked, do I agree with that? And the answer is no, I don't. I don't agree with that. I think that meme coins will perform very, very well, especially the ones that have held up, right? There's GigaChat, to get back into an area of strength, same thing. Reclaim the yearly open, that becomes your deviation back above the top side of the trading range. And in actual fact, this would just look like one massive reaccumulation within an ascending triangle. And how high would that send GigaChat? Well, we can actually measure this out, right? You can look over here. The breakout of that level, by at least the definition of how these ascending triangles work, is you can work out a measured move, and that's giving you another 87% on top of that, right? At that point, the whole altcoin space is probably anyway breaking out. So that is some of the top meme coins. Again, Turbo, not too bad. Also, if you do get a little bit of a throwback into 0.006, nice level to pick some up. Ponky also back down at the SR flip region, right at the bottom of the trading range. SPX, holding right there at the SR flip level as well. So if you wanted to pick this up, this is, of course, I think Murad's biggest coin that he promotes. If you are looking for something like this, not bad, not bad. It is forming a little bit of a parabola over here. So there we go. Can probably tighten that ever so slightly, but more or less, holding that level, coming into key support, not too bad. That's your first proper pullback where you have an opportunity to get in. I do not hold SPX. Maybe I should pick some up. Maybe. I'll see. I'll think about it. For now, my top picks are the ones listed above. 𝗕𝗬𝗘𝗦𝗕𝗬𝗕𝗬𝗕, Brett, Andy, Wolf, WIF, 𝗥, GigaChat. I have a bit of Turbo, Ponky. And then I do have a few of the rest that are listed below. And then we got the dark horse, right? The dark horse that keeps defying all odds is, of course, Goku, right? There it is. Look at that. Goku, 18 million. Why am I bringing this up? Well, because they have a competition running right now. The current riddle is $500. If you solve the riddle, from the mind of my creators, a legacy was born, a golden warrior to weather the storm, not from where you'd expect, but a tale unique, where vengeance and ghosts of the past would speak. Captured in light, my essence displayed a moment of triumph, my creator replayed. To solve the riddle, you must uncover the fight. The time I ascend, bathed in gold's light, right? He says over here, what story do I hail from? At what minute did I rise? And who fought my fall in their twisted demise? If you solve that, you get $500 worth of Goku tokens, right? So go through to their Twitter page. This is the Goku AI page. I am following it. They're doing some super cool stuff. I think this coin is going to pump. It's doing really, really well. It's held up through all of this. Need to take out the range highs over there, and then you start to get measured moves as well. We already have those fib extensions, right? 1.618 is going to be the first major target. Glenn, you're asking about FOG. Yes, we can have a look at FOG. I do still hold FOG, by the way. Every single token, I didn't sell any. This is just, unfortunately, one of the coins that got totally obliterated, right? Similar to PopCat. So, yeah, I don't know who the big sellers are on that. There it is. Look, getting absolutely smashed. I have a super early entry, so it's very, very hard for me to lose anything on this trade. But yeah, that's the FOG chart. You have to look to key support over here. It's so close to getting there. You could dip one more time, right? So you could dip one more time, but one more time is still far down, 34% to get deep into that level, right? Okay. Let's see. What else have we got over here? Anything else worth looking at? In just quickly, 𝗕𝗬𝗕𝗕. I just want to say on 𝗕𝗬𝗕𝗕, if ETH breaks out, guys, 𝗕𝗬𝗕𝗕 is going to be a big breakout trade, right? So you got your downsloping trend line. Remember, the flavor of the month, as I said, is probably going to be this. The flavor of the month is most coins come into their main demand level. They all look the same, right? You have the downsloping trend line, and ultimately, when you do start to break that, it's off to the races, and these things are going to cook. So I'm trying to forewarn you before the big breakouts happen. Of course, you can get a bit of a shakeout, come down one more time, frustrating the hell out of people. That is possible. But at the moment, I think it's less likely. I do think it's less likely. All right, talking about AI agents as well, there's another one to look at over here. It's called Lava, as per 𝗕𝗜𝗣𝗙𝗕𝗏 pretty big account over here on X. He says AI agents have one significant obstacle to overcome, and that is gaining access to blockchain data, right? Lava network is the first protocol designed especially to link blockchains to AI agents. So basically, if you interact with AI agents, you're essentially utilizing the Lava network because they're running 40 plus chains worth of RPC infrastructure, and they've had zero downtime and permissions. And the other thing that I'll mention over here is there's no token unlocks, I believe, until 2026 at the end of the year. So there is the token, which means you won't get rained down tokens on you. It's currently got a fully diluted valuation of 144 billion. We can look at the chart. It's just started to trade on exchanges like Bybit. So for a newly launched coin, you're getting it literally right at rock bottom. So one to look out for under the AI agent narrative. We'll look at a couple of the others right now, since that is a massive hot and happening narrative. But Lava, you can write down the name, have a look at it, check it out over here. Range lows, if it does hold this range lows, you could be picking it up very, very, very low. So AI16Z, let's quickly go into the daily time frame for that. This is what I warned of, right? I did pick up a bit of a position over here, but this is something that I warned of. The fact that price moved up over here, came all the way down and rejected. I said that the sentiment on this particular coin was peak euphoria at this phase of the market, right? This was like peak euphoria. Pull out your Wall Street cheat sheet. Should we bring it up? Wall Street cheat sheet, right? Wall Street cheat sheet. Let's pull that up over there and show you what we're talking about. Let's go to images. Which one should we click on? There's always so many of these damn things. Let's go to this one. Take us to Twitter. There we go. All right, Wall Street cheat sheet. Let's pull it up. I did at the time. I said, this is reminiscent of thrill and euphoria. No doubt that it was thrill. I said euphoria or complacency could be next, right? So you're either in thrill and you're going to go up one more time to euphoria, or you're already in euphoria and you're going to go to complacency. But without a shadow of a doubt, in my opinion, you were in one of these three, right? So when you look at the chart over there, what happened? Well, that would have been at least thrill. That would have been the euphoria. That would have been the complacency, right? And I said, be careful of that. Now you're getting another bounce that's rejecting over here. I'm still holding the position just in case I'm wrong, right? Because what would being wrong look like? Well, being wrong would look like this. If this starts to put in a higher low, and I got in pretty much at the bottom of this candle on Tuesday. So if you do start to come down over here and you put in a higher low, maybe I'm wrong and this thing just continues onwards and upwards, and that was not actually that phase, but instead maybe this was just the hope phase, right? But based on the sentiment and the way the market was reacting, I tend to lean towards that was probably euphoria. So on the AI agents, you do need to be careful that you haven't just put in a complacency bounce, and what comes next after complacency: anxiety, denial, panic, and then you go flat for quite some time, right? Which is usually following a parabolic advancement, a drop below the base. There's the base, a drop below the base that puts you into depression. Why does it put you into depression? Well, you do the math. Top buyers would be down at that point 80%. And that does not feel so good, right? It doesn't get the tingles flowing as nicely. So on virtuals, same thing, right? I said, let's just be a little bit cautious over here, because once you broke this upsloping trend line down, you lost the trend. And I said, maybe that was the euphoria phase on virtuals, euphoria. You drop it down, you bounce up, and you set in a lower high, complacency. So I also took this trade just below over here on this candle. So just after the wick low, pretty much on that same day or the next day, I opened up a trade. So I'm up on the position, but I'm going to be very, very carefully watching this, because if this does start to roll over, you know, a return to the base where you drop below the base, there's your base over there, equals depression. And I'm not in the mood to be depressed, right? I'm definitely not in the mood to be depressed right now. 𝗂𝗕𝗓𝗓 defies all odds. This one is absolutely pumping. We cannot buy it over here. If you are interested in this one, I think I have another level on this chart. Let's just quickly see. 𝗂𝗓𝗓𝗓, 𝗂𝗕𝗓𝗓𝗓. That's the one that I drawed on this chart. So yes, it would be at the yearly open, right? So if you come back down to the yearly open, you'll be throwing back into this major support. Let's see on the lower time frames there. Look, the complication with this one, as I said, you know, you don't want to be taking out these little order blocks that led to the big move up. That takes more time to recover from. We can also throw on a fib from bottom to top over there. And I mean, it lines up, right? You got your 50% level. Watch, I'll just chuck it on over there. There's your 50% level. If I just remove this a little bit so it doesn't distort it, there you go, the white line. The white line is your 50% level, 66 cents. It lines up exactly with the drawing that I did. So if you want 𝗂𝗕𝗓𝗓𝗓, you've either missed the run, or if you want it, simply just wait for it to come back towards the yearly open, right? That's what I'd be looking at over there. I think it's a great coin. If you're in it, well done, well done. You've caught a massive pump. You know, this thing can cook. So keep an eye out on that one. That is 𝗂𝗕𝗓𝗓. What about Fartcoin? Okay, Fartcoin also looking super strong, super strong. Fartcoin's got some gas. There it is, running towards all-time highs. You know, it needs to take out this level at 154, and then simply it just moves into price discovery. So I think we can start to clear some of these levels out. Where's this thing over here? Let's just remove that on our chart. All right, there's a lot of things to talk about today. I also want to mention, guys, if you do want to, you know, take your trading to the next level, and you're looking for one of the most rock-solid communities in the entire world, well, I would say that the most rock-solid community in the whole world is, of course, in Whale Room. So there's a link below. Click on that link if you do want to sign up and join our team of heavily profitable traders who are constantly printing money. Then you can find that info in there. Of course, we do education, we do live Zooms, we do everything in there. You'll find the, you know, broader market analysis, my portfolio. Some of you messaged me. I told you yesterday, you'll find my portfolio is in here, right? I will give you an updated version today because one of my APIs expired for the portfolio. So I'm going to update that after the show, and then I'll drop the new ones in there since I've made some new buys, like with Sonic, right? I bought Sonic. What else have I added? Hype is already in there. So I think it just needs to show you the percentage splits. If you guys want that, that is in there. And then I see some of you are asking about Bird Dog. Guys, yes, we mustn't forget Bird Dog. Bird Dog is your at least dark horse when it comes to the 𝗏𝗡𝗅𝗡 collection. What is the 𝗏𝗡𝗅𝗡 collection? The 𝗏𝗡𝗅𝗡 collection is the collection of meme coins. At least the characters were created by 𝗏𝗏𝗅𝗡, right? Pepe, Brett, Andy, and Landwolf, and then we can throw in over there Bird Dog. We're still long on this. You can get in pretty much from the bottom. This is the bottom of the trading range, flipping this into support. The blue line is the trajectory that we expect should happen next. So that's what we're looking at over there. I'll do a quick look at Rune because I just feel like a lot of Crypto Banter people, for some reason, or viewers, are in Rune. I don't know if this is influenced by Ran, but if it is, well, there's Rune right down into the bottom of the range. So you are getting a bounce. You know, of course, the level to take out is going to be these highs, right? Those previous lower highs coming in at $5. $5, pretty much exactly at $5. You need to take that out. If you set in a lower high at underside resistance at 443, a little bit of a warning sign, you may come down then and either take out this low, or if you're lucky, then you put in a higher low like that. So end of the day, the message is clear. Rune is going to take time, right? This is not going to break out into a strong trending move yet. All right, guys, I'm just checking the comments in case there's anything that I missed from you guys. You know, tomorrow we'll go through a lot of altcoins. So join tomorrow's show. The only instance that I won't be doing a live show tomorrow is if I have to go to the hospital for my fiance has to get surgery there from our ski accident in the holidays, that would be the only incident, right? Where I don't do a live, because usually they want to do these surgeries in the morning. Okay. We've covered that. We've covered Whale Room. You guys check it out over there. We've covered also Whale School and Whale Room. You guys know what to do. Let me know in the comments after the show, because this is the live feedback. As you can see, this is going to disappear. Where you guys are typing right now, this is going to disappear. Let me know after the show in the comment section when we end this live what you want charted for tomorrow. That is it from me. I will catch all of you on the next one. I hope you all have an absolutely lovely day, and cheers for now.